A real storm has erupted in British political life. Angela Rayner, Deputy Prime Minister, and one of the most influential figures in the Labour Party, has found herself at the centre of a scandal that threatens not only her political career, but also the reputation of the party itself. In an exclusive interview with journalist Isabel Oakeshott, her ex-husband, Mark Rayner, suddenly decided to break his years-long silence and reveal shocking details about his ex-wife's life that could become a political bombshell. In recent days, Labour has been rocked by allegations that concern not only Rayner's personal life, but also her professional life. Alarming suspicions extend to her Labour biography, with which there are a number of controversies. In particular, her claim that she worked as a social worker from 2000 to 2015 is called into question. These years she has always presented as a time when she laboured among ordinary people, getting to know their problems and representing their interests in politics. However, documents from Stockport Local Council have recently leaked to the press which cast doubt on these claims. These documents contain information that directly contradicts the facts claimed, revealing inconsistencies in her employment history.
That there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British, of course what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time. Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But in relation to free speech in the UK, I'm very proud of our history there.
The documents confirm that Rayner may have engaged in activities completely unrelated to her claimed work in social care. Questions about the honesty and accuracy of her employment records raise serious doubts about her intentions and motives, angering not only her opponents but also many of her supporters. Why, many wonder, would a politician of such importance choose to misrepresent such fundamental data about her life? How might this affect voter confidence and her ability to remain in the political arena at such a difficult time for the Labour Party? It is not just Rayner's questionable employment history that is escalating the scandal. Her ex-husband's recent allegations about his ex-wife's allegedly unscrupulous activities on the political front are adding fuel to the fire. These allegations touch on even more troubling topics: suspected violations of laws governing elections. Not only is her employment record in jeopardy, but there are fears that Rayner may have used her position to manipulate her party's interests by delaying elections in areas where the party could have suffered significant losses. This accusation, if confirmed, represents a serious breach of democratic principles and adds to fears that politics is not just about one's own image, but anything that can be tweaked to suit political need. Conservative opponents do not miss the slightest opportunity to intensify their criticism. Conservative Party MPs immediately began demanding an independent investigation, arguing that such allegations were too serious to be simply part of a political fight. They were soon joined by Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, who bluntly stated that Angela Rayner should resign because her behaviour was a betrayal of public trust. Indeed, many observers agree that this scandal could seriously affect the future of both Rayner and the Labour Party as a whole. However, this is where the other side of this conflict comes in. Rayner, despite the accusations, stubbornly defends her honesty and truthfulness. She claims that the delay in the election was solely due to the need to make administrative changes to local councils, and that there were no political motives involved. But the explanation doesn't seem convincing enough, especially in the face of such accusations. It is quite obvious that she will have to go through a public inquiry to prove her innocence. If her explanation proves untenable, her political career could collapse overnight, despite her years of experience in politics and the high position she has held in government. Against the backdrop of this scandal, the question of how its outcome will affect the position of the Labour Party leader, Keir Starmer, becomes equally important. Clouds are once again beginning to swirl around rumours of his possible relationship with Angela Rayner, who, according to Mark Rayner, was once seen in a compromising situation with him. If these rumours are confirmed, it could undermine Starmer's credibility, and thus the Labour movement itself. However, it remains to be seen whether this is the result of political infighting within the party or indeed a real scandal that will affect all of its key figures. Whatever the case, the current moment has proven to be crucial for Rayner's political career. Everything she has been building for years could be destroyed in a matter of weeks if conclusive evidence of her honesty and integrity is not found. One thing is certain: Angela Rayner has found herself at the heart of a political cataclysm, and not only her future, but the future of the Labour Party is in great jeopardy. At the centre of the political scandal unfolding in the UK is not only Angela Rayner's personal life, but also her ex-husband, Mark Rayner, who plays a key role in the unfolding of this story. His unexpected intervention in the political crisis involving his ex-wife has caused a storm of emotion in Parliament and beyond. In an interview he gave to journalist Isabel Aikshot, Mark revealed shocking details about their life together that cast doubt on her integrity and even her place in the Labour Party. He not only confirmed rumours of recent tensions between the two, but also recounted events that could change the outlook on her political career. One of the most explosive and damaging situations for Rayner was Mark's admission that he had witnessed her meeting with Keir Starmer in a highly compromising environment. It's hard not to give weight to this claim, especially given the fact that Starmer himself, as leader of the Labour Party, is at the centre of politics, where personal connections can play a key role. If the rumours are confirmed, it could not only ruin Angela Rayner's career, but also jeopardise Starmer's own position as party leader. Political rumours are often the catalysts for much larger scandals, and if these allegations of a personal affair turn out to be true, it could be a blow to the trust of voters and party members. However, while Mark Rayner confirms these rumours, his motives remain unclear. He is not just blaming his ex-wife, but also trying to justify his actions. In the interview, he claims that he is just trying to expose the truth and not to avenge personal wrongs. His words carry weight as he was part of Angela's inner circle and probably knows more than others. On the one hand, one can understand his desire to expose the truth. But on the other hand, it is unclear whether his involvement in this scandal is the result of personal revenge or a genuine desire to expose political impropriety. This controversy, of course, only adds fuel to the fire and creates more and more questions that need to be answered. One of the most troubling aspects is that such revelations undermine the stability of the Labour Party, and not just its leader. While some argue that this is an attempt at political manoeuvring in the run-up to the election, others see it as an attempt to get rid of uncomfortable figures within the party. Rayner's own position on the matter is complex. On the one hand, she is defending her political career. On the other hand, she is facing accusations that are not so easy to refute. In parallel, her political opponents, both Conservatives and party members, are not slowing down with harsh criticism. The whole situation with Rayner's personal relationship and her possible affair with the Labour leader is just the tip of the iceberg. The real problem for her career remains the allegations of political manipulation and election interference, which are also attracting public attention. After all, if it turns out that Rayner used her positions to influence the election results, it could cause a real storm of discontent, because interference in the voting process is an extremely serious violation of the principles of democracy. Another facet of this scandal concerns allegations that Rayner was involved in manipulating local elections. She is known to have allegedly used her influence to delay elections in areas where her party risked losing support. In particular, these actions involved areas where the UK Reform Party could have made significant gains, raising suspicions of political bias in the decision. Rayner's opponents argue that her actions violate basic democratic principles and undermine confidence in her integrity and openness as a politician. Rayner, for her part, vehemently denies all allegations, arguing that the election delay was necessary to make structural changes to the council. This argument sounds logical enough, but many in the opposition and among voters find it too convenient. After all, it is precisely at times when the political landscape may favour one party that such delays seem suspicious. The Labour Party, known for its declarations of democracy and openness, now faces accusations that it is using its power to manipulate the political landscape and secure electoral advantage. All this is certainly having a devastating effect on Angela Rayner's political career, and her future electoral prospects are becoming increasingly unclear. Unsurprisingly, soon after these events there were calls for an investigation that could uncover the whole truth. However, voices of support within the party itself also began to emerge. Rayner's supporters argue that her personal life should not affect her political activities, and that all these allegations are part of a coordinated campaign to discredit her. They believe there is a political conspiracy behind it all to undermine the Labour Party, especially in the run-up to an important election. Nevertheless, even her supporters can't deny that her image situation is out of control and the pressure on her is growing every day. One way or another, the Angela Rayner situation is a real political storm that keeps us watching every new development. Questions remain unanswered, and the future of her career hangs in the balance. What's next for her? Will she return to politics after these allegations, or will she be forced to resign? One thing is certain, this scandal is not only a blow to Rayner, but to the entire Labour Party, which will now be forced to endure the consequences of these revelations. In light of all the scandals surrounding Angela Rayner, more and more attention in British politics is focused not only on her personal life, but also on the reactions of the political field itself. Since her ex-husband Mark Rayner revealed compromising details of their relationship and allegations of election manipulation, the political environment has become increasingly tense. In the days after the allegations surfaced, multiple votes of confidence and support for the Labour Party became increasingly tense, and questions were already being raised among political observers. Was this scandal really orchestrated to discredit Rayner, or was she really manipulating the political situation for her own good? On the Labour side, there has been an attempt to turn the tables on an external threat, claiming that the whole scandal is part of a carefully orchestrated attack on the party, aimed at weakening it before an important election. This is not surprising. The party, on the verge of significant change and crucial elections, faces a threat not only from rivals, but also from internal factors. Events like the Rayner scandal usually provide an opportunity for opponents to impose their agenda, and in this case the situation has been so dramatic that the consequences could affect not only the future of her career, but the entire Labour Party. Meanwhile, demands for an investigation into allegations of electoral manipulation have grown in political circles. It has become clear to many that interference in the voting process is a serious violation of democratic principles, and if the allegations are true, it will be a blow to the very essence of the British political system. In response to these allegations, Angela Rayner insists that her actions were driven by the need to make administrative changes and reorganize local councils, and that the election delays were not politically motivated. However, these explanations look extremely unconvincing in light of all the information that has now descended on her. With each passing day, the pressure on Rayner continues to mount. The party's supporters, while trying to defend her against the allegations, cannot ignore the fact that the Labour Party itself has been in the spotlight due to allegations of manipulation and violation of the principles of democracy. This could not help but affect the reputation of its leader, Keir Starmer, who now faces multiple questions regarding his connection to the scandal. His allegations, if confirmed, could become a real political crisis, threatening the very existence of the Labour Party as the main political force in the country. In response to this crisis, opposition forces, including the Conservative Party and the UK Reform Party, have begun to actively call for an immediate investigation. Given the entire context in which the political game is being played, the Rayner-related scandal would undoubtedly have resonated widely in the media and political arena. That resonance was reflected in voter sentiment as well. Rayner's opponents are convinced that her actions to manipulate the election and manipulate the political process for personal gain are evidence of wider problems within the Labour Party itself, hence the pressure for her to step down and call for an inquiry. Nevertheless, Rayner supporters continue to argue that the whole scandal is nothing more than politically motivated, aimed at weakening the party ahead of the election. According to them, all the allegations are made to discredit a strong political player, and they emphasize the importance of protecting her rights, especially in the face of the political pressure that comes from her opponents. Private moments in Rayner's life, her defenders argue, should not be discussed in the context of her political career, especially if they were just part of a personal vendetta or political manipulation orchestrated by outside forces. This entire political crisis has also been accompanied by a broader economic context. It is not only domestic political storms that are raging, but also geopolitical turmoil. This is particularly sensitive for the UK, which continues to face difficult economic conditions post-Brexit. In recent weeks, the attention of the political establishment has been drawn to US President Donald Trump's announcement of new import tariffs, which has also exacerbated the economy. Markets have already begun to shake on this news, and the UK, as a country closely linked to global trade, has begun to feel the first effects of these moves. The UK government, including Prime Minister Keir Starmer, now finds itself in a situation where political and economic pressures from both sides demand immediate solutions. While Starmer continues to step up diplomatic efforts on the international stage in an attempt to contain the effects of economic instability, the Labour Party's domestic problems require more decisive action. As the political climate becomes more tense, the growing resentment against Rayner is only worsening with each passing day, and worsening the party's image in the eyes of the electorate. The Labour Party is now faced with the need to deal with internal problems, and at the same time find ways to overcome external challenges that could lead to new economic turmoil. The question remains, can the party survive this crisis, or will its credibility be permanently undermined, both in the domestic political arena and in the eyes of its international partners? It is already clear that Angela Rayner's future in politics depends heavily on how she and her party can justify themselves to their voters and overcome this storm.